Hi, welcome everybody, and welcome to Rome and virtually out there. How are you guys? I'm really happy to see you. We're going to talk about the internet exchanges and the neutral co-location. So a mouthful and lots to discuss. I cannot do this alone, and I don't want to do this alone. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome the people here, of course, in Rome, and of course out there. So thank you for watching and thank you for being with us. As I mentioned, panel full, a lot of experts here, and to start with a real expert, and I'm really honored to have her here. Noah, thank you so much for being here, and ladies and gentlemen, I'll give everybody a quick minute to introduce themselves and their companies, and if there's a scoop, we're more than happy to hear this on this platform. So Noah, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric. My name is Noah, Noah Kok from Amsterdam Internet Exchange. I joined AMSIX 2 years ago, and I'm working for my regions, or actually in the sales team. And most of my regions are MENA and the US for the sales.
Thank you very much, and honored to having you here. And ladies and gentlemen, just as a little thing, Noah will from AMSIX will give us a nice presentation. But before we go there, Halil, welcome and please.
Thank you, Eric. My name is Halil Kama. I'm from the London Internet Exchange, or LINX for short. We're one of the large internet exchanges out there in the ecosystem of internet exchanges. We have 970 plus members, over 1,000 ASs around the world, all connecting into London. So we're here today to talk about that and yeah, share our knowledge, and it's exciting to be back in person.
Thank you so much for having us. Yeah.
Thank you. Good to see you, Eric. Well, I'm Cristiano Zanforlin. I'm Chief Commercial Officer of MIX. So I'm basically responsible for sales and marketing for MIX. MIX is the leading Italian internet exchange with more than 350 peers connected and 1.5 terabit of all-time peak capacity.
Thank you so much, Cristiano. And let's go over to Germany. Ivo, welcome.
Hello, hello everybody. I'm so sorry not being on site in the nice Rome. I heard 30 degrees, excellent food. What do you wish more? I'm on a business trip in the Middle East, and therefore I couldn't join you in person. Thanks for the opportunity being on the hybrid panel, and I do represent DICIX today, responsible as CEO of DICIX International for the strategic market development around the globe. DICIX as of today operates on 30 different markets in 14 countries, 4 continents, connects networks from 110 nations, in total 2,430 networks, which in total creates the largest data center and carrier neutral interconnection ecosystem on the planet. And it's a really pleasure being part of this panel and looking forward to the discussion.
Ivo, thank you so much, and all the best to Dubai, but actually to Germany as well. So good having you, honor having you, Ivo. Thank you, Martin. I think you're next, please.
Yes, hello. Thank you for inviting me. And like Ivo, I'd like to say how devastated I am not to be in Rome. I don't have an excuse. Yeah, really, I'd love to be there. It's not a bad day in the UK here in the south, but nevertheless, next time, definitely, we'll be at one of these events. Martin Atkinson, Senior Manager for Peering and Interconnection in EMEA, although my view is inevitably somewhat global because Equinix is a global company. And IX represents a proportion of my role and responsibilities within the company, since all things to do with interconnection fall in my lap. Very happy to be talking about IX. Equinix operates 40 internet exchanges worldwide, 42 if you include 2 shared fabrics, which we do with others. The exchanges are in 187 data centers across the world, about 230. Currently 2030 ASNs connected and peaking at around 20 terabits per second in aggregate. But I have to stress that these are individual unconnected IXs, keeping peering local and not a general global fabric in any sense. So the aggregate statistics don't say any more than that's a lot in total, but actually every exchange is different, from the very smallest, a few gigs per second, up to the largest at 7.3 terabits per second. So there's everything in between. So we understand small IXs, we understand big IXs.
Thank you so much, Martin, and good seeing you again, man. And last but not least, I think from Germany, Carsten, good seeing you again, my friend. It has been a month, but sorry you couldn't make it, but hopefully next time soon again. So Carsten, please, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. Indeed, good afternoon, I should say. At least it's afternoon in the Central European time zone. So good afternoon to everybody on site in Rome as well as online. And indeed, I'm in Germany right now, based out of Berlin, and I'm in Berlin. And compared the weather situation to Rome, it was essentially like heavily pouring all morning, really, with thunderstorms and everything. So you're lucky, you're well off, much better off in Rome than we've been here in Berlin. A couple of words about my background. I'm self-employed, I do independent consultancy at the intersection of policy, technology, and economy, to all sorts of aspects of internet infrastructure, and that spans from the domain name business, which is registrar as well as registry business, via cable operators, fiber operators, towards data center operators, and that span also includes internet exchange point operators, where essentially whatever my client would like me to do in my area of expertise, so to say, is part of what I would be doing towards my clients, really. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, excuse me, of course, I'm happy to be able to be part of this panel as well.
So welcome everybody, and an honor having you here together with Cristiano, Halil, of course, and of course the one and only Noah, which will tell you something about the IXP changing environment, and of course from AMSIX. So honored to have you here, and Noah, over to you. It's all yours.
Thank you, Eric. So it's all about challenges and opportunities in the IX Internet Exchange world. To be honest, for me, it is. We all face these challenges, but for me, it's more important how you deal with the opportunities. You can't hear me? Like this? Good. Okay. So it's about how you deal with the opportunities and where the focus is. And AMSIX is focusing on new services and new segment market and develop new markets. We have the 3 pillars, which we use we focus on the 3 pillars, which I will show you. It's innovate, optimize, and grow. Innovate. We do innovate. As you see, there's a lot of heavy for data, hungry age, I heard this morning, like we have a hungry age for data. So one of the projects that AMSIX is involving in is AMDEX. And AMDEX is a Amsterdam data exchange. Amsterdam Data Exchange helps the different, an innovation lab with a cooperation with the University of Amsterdam, SURF, AMSIX, and several other organizations. And the idea about being part of this innovation of AMDEX is that we try to develop a standard for the data, because if there's a lot of data change, who's the owner of the data? Where does the data go? Who needs the data, and who wants to share it with who? So this is one of the things that we are so focused on. And of course, if you have a lot of new services and products, you need also to make sure that the service towards the customer is optimized your organization. By, for example, we have working on a new customer portal. We are also optimizing our internal process. And this is the way that we can make it easier for customer just with one click to order a peer report. But we also are growing, so that's also one of our focus. In Amsterdam, we are growing rapidly. We have hit more than 10 terabit traffic. And we are also expanding out of Amsterdam, which is, of course, AMSIX, Amsterdam Internet Exchange, going to Rotterdam with two extra places, locations in Rotterdam. But growing in Amsterdam is not only enough for us, so we grow also worldwide. As you see, we have opened 4 new locations in India. And of course, our leading exchange of the Middle East, Manama IX, hits the 427 traffic. And this quarter, in the last quarter of the year, Egypt IX will open, which is Cairo IX. And I can ensure you that there are a lot of more new locations will be open. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And please be seated. So thank you very much. That gave us a quite an interesting view over what the AMSIX is doing, how you're doing it, and how you're expanding and what's more there to come. Of course, you do know you are in the X, Mix, Links, AMSIX, DKIX, and whatever IX panel. So thank you very much. Let me check in the audience if there is any questions for you, Noah. Is there any? Do you dare ask a question to her? No, of course not. It was all clear. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. So let's get into it, because the topic, as we know, is the Internet Exchange and a neutral co-location. So yeah, Halil, I have to start with you today. I have to start with you today. Tell us the current IXP landscape, if I may say. Who and what are the key drivers, and what are the latest developments in the IX land? And I'll come to you as well, guys over there and here, of course. But from your point of view, please.
Thank you. That's a very interesting question, especially after the whole pandemic era that we're in, right? Exactly. The need for IXs and what we've evolved to more so, and the importance, we've always had importance within the industry, within the telco world. I was speaking with my colleagues about this earlier, that we don't get enough credit within the IX world for what we do within the ecosystem. For all of our IXs on the panel here, we contribute a huge amount to the telco industry and
the full ecosystem.
The whole ecosystem completely, which is a very, very underrated service that we are offering. Obviously, the pandemic has brought this into light because everyone is now working from home, or was working from home, and now in hybrid solutions, etc. But the need for data has just increased, right? So with the need for data increasing, the question was, will they be able to cope? Will the internet fold? Will there be shortages? What will happen? How will we get through this? Majority of the public obviously don't know that traffic passes through an exchange or a transit provider, but they just think it works.
They should.
Right?
They should.
Absolutely. We should get credit for it, but we don't, unfortunately. It's hidden in the background. But that has led to huge amounts of change in our reaching new peaks, reaching new amounts of traffic peaks that we haven't done before straight away, and seeing that in such a short period of time, especially when the pandemic started, March 2020. We saw an increase at links around about 25 to 30% within a month or so of hitting a traffic peak, right? And that would normally take us about 18 months to 2 years to hit that kind of level. So having done that in such a small period of time, it shows obviously that we were resilient, and obviously able to upgrade ports, etc., for our members to keep them efficiently running without losing any packets. Members upgraded overnight, and we were trying to process things as quick as we could. But the underratedness, I think, of what IXs do within the ecosystem, and the biggest change for us is just, it's the continuing story that we've heard again today. Lower costs and more data is what everyone is looking for. That's what the end user wants. That's what our consumers want, our members want, and everyone is trying to achieve that through various solutions within the IXP ecosystem. And yeah, that's what we're here to talk about today.
Thank you. Thank you. So going from London to Milano, so can you describe us the current landscape, please, Cristiano?
Sure, pleasure. Well, as we discussed with a little before, we have seen during the pandemic a major emergency in all of our peers having their peer imports and their services not enough capacity in order to satisfy the new trend of traffic that have been driven by the pandemic. So moving from the enterprise headquarters up to eyeball, so mobile operator and fixed operator, managing remote working from home of the all employees. But after that, we have just entered into another emergency that, especially in Italy, started in last month, because you know that in Italy, for example, soccer is like a religion, and we have seen that the traffic dramatically grow with the disrupted event that was the moving from a satellite broadcaster up to an IP broadcaster. And that is also helping us improving our approach, because from our side, it's not a matter of just selling the port, just adding new peers. We need to understand, we need to go deep. What are the rules? What are the policy that are new among peers, in order to better understand how we can change our approach, because that was one of the most important things. One of the things we are working on, for example, is to increase the cooperation among IXs. This in Italy particularly, we focused the work group, and we are going to start working this group with other IXs in order to reveal, and in order to reveal the value of the internet exchange, which is very, very underestimated as today. We are one of the most important gear of the internet ecosystem. Whether the peer would like to use us as a main, whether as a backup, whether as a parallel, they will be always free to use us as they want. But it is important that even at the high level, internet exchange should be seen as a very important gear, having a great role in the new challenges that are facing in the next years.
Thank you, Cristiano. And guys, just to make it tangible, 60+ million Italians would not have seen Italy become European champion. That's how important soccer is, and that's how important IX is. Ivo, geographically going north, I know you're in Dubai, but going a bit up north from Milano to Frankfurt, just scale us the landscape we see today.
Yeah, first of all, let me agree with the colleagues, of course, that IXPs, but also all of the other elements of the digital infrastructure value chain, like data center operators, fiber operators, ISPs, carriers, and subsea cable operators, we all have proven that digital infrastructure can deliver. This, I think, now is a very clear answer to the economy worldwide. And to scale it up further, what has been mentioned, I don't want to repeat the importance. I want to give you flavors from different markets, as we do operate on 4 continents, from North America to Southeast Asia. We do see a huge trend. The trend we at DICX have foreseen a couple of years back, where we stopped offering the port as a peering port only on the exchange. It became a multi-service port already in 2016 at our end, so 5 years back. And the current wave, literally a wave in all markets, we see proves this. what we do see is that an internet exchange turns into a role of interconnection fabric. Because of the digital transformation everywhere, of course, exchanges have been established mainly to serve wholesale networks or networks with a huge in and outbound direct interconnection need. Today, we do see a huge appetite from various different stakeholders from industries like finance, and I think Noah mentioned this, healthcare, insurance is involved in retail, mobility, automotive, logistics, actually education, and so far and so on. All these organizations, they have something in common. They require more flexibility, security, efficiency, and seamless usage of infrastructure, which cannot be delivered by old-fashioned telecommunication and incumbent operator services. And therefore, this is what we see as one of the main opportunities for the internet exchange landscape to serve this appetite, to serve these needs, and create a new generation of interconnection and connectivity services. And I can prove this with just examples. Big automotive companies connected to various different DKIX platforms, not for peering only, but also for cloud, for using Microsoft 365 connectivity. Construction company connected to DKIX. If you would have asked me 5 years back if this will happen, I will say a nice dream, but probably not. Now this is reality. E-health service operators, retailers, logistic companies, and. This is the new world of interconnection, and I see it as an exciting one, which opens up a new decade for our business, full of opportunities, and opportunities mean also growth and success and fun.
Thank you, Ivo. And let's go to the beautiful Amsterdam, where the city I come from. So Noah, please, anything to add to what the guys were saying from an IX point of view?
Yes, I can add that indeed there is a lot of changing, and indeed we have other developers. There are many others like data center, for example, that they start their own IX. We have challenges from IP transit, which decrease their pricing. It's also challenging. And the answer from AMSIX side on that is that we develop new products and services, like we have anti-DDoS, for example, for security reasons. And we have cloud access to serve the new commerce to the market for like enterprises. But also we are very good in peering, and then we still see that other countries are not developed yet in peering. So there's a lot of other countries that can use our experience, and we can help them to develop more, bringing the traffic local. That's what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So let's move to the data center guys. So Martin, how do you see the landscape, and you agree with Noah?
Oh, above and beyond agree. We're totally on the same page. Yeah, honestly, what Ivo is saying is absolutely on the money. And yes, there are small IXs that are still at the stage. They may be in heavily regulated countries where there is still a dominant telco that's distorting the market, which has a negative effect on GDP and digital transformation generally. That's a whole story in itself. But IX, a true neutral IX, I believe is the start of the peering ecosystem migrates to cloud on-ramp, migrates to broad range of digital services available on a single platform, as Ivo is talking about. For DKIX, Equinix has the Equinix Fabric platform, which is now global, and that delivers a multi-service experience to connected parties across the world. It's way beyond even cloud on-ramp, and it's into digital services in the broadest sense of the word, which may include geodiverse DDoS mitigation, precision time, it could be hybrid cloud or private cloud, or flexing workloads between them. There is no end to the possibilities for enterprises in the retail space, manufacturing, healthcare and life sciences, as you mentioned, or even government infrastructure to to adopt private interconnection where it's essential to preserve critical national infrastructure from cybersecurity threats and malevolent actors, but also safely connect to the public internet. And generally with moves in the security space around RPKI origin validation, prevention of BGP hijacks, DDoS mitigation, there is a whole bunch of stuff that IXPs and these interconnection companies, as we are morphing into, really are preeminent. And we have something to say both to governments and security agencies around the world, I think generally, about the digital transformation of enterprises across a broad spread of industries. So absolutely agree with what Ivo and our colleagues are saying here on the IX side.
Thank you, Martin. And now I would like to hear, because I hear all the IXs and of course Martin from Equinix as well. But Karsten, by the end of the day, there's only one helicopter view, right? And we, here the audience and out there in the world, they would like to know how it's really going on and what's out there. And tell us, please enlighten us.
Well, what can I say,
guys here?
What can I say? I mean, there's this quote by the famous German comedian about 100 years ago, Karl Valentin. Everything has been said already, but not yet by everybody. So I'm trying to come up with something original, new for some. So I put down a note from the very beginning what Halil said, lower cost and more data, and I guess that is true also from our point of view, obviously, but also I would like to add that lower latency as well as increased reliability and resiliency is being added by the Internet Exchange Point ecosystem. And because obviously multiple operators would be connected via multiple internet exchange points, and that still takes totally aside the transit business. Yeah, so having lower latency obviously adds some value as well, in terms of in particular when it comes to the gaming industry, which I see ever increasing since I put an eye on it first time, like say from a traffic point of view, like say five to 6 years ago. And obviously also resiliency is a good thing, is a good thing as well. And another thing which I increasingly see is and Ivo and Martin have been discussing this already, but also from my side, is enterprises and companies becoming an active part in the peering ecosystem. So when, say, 10 years ago, most of the companies or even enterprises were customers of internet service providers connected to internet exchange points, they now would get with their own autonomous system and autonomous system numbers being directly connected to an internet exchange point, which Martin has said that gives them much more flexibility in picking their services directly from vendors, service providers such as Microsoft or Google or Amazon Web Service and what else have you. That might be a bit to the detriment of classic internet service providers, but in terms of an overall service architecture, again, also in terms of resiliency and reliability, my gut's feeling would be that this is a better situation than we've had 10 years ago. And the last word on data centers, I guess having neutral internet exchange operators, or neutral internet exchange points being operated in carrier neutral data centers is also a key, because I've also witnessed attempts of carriers who then thought, let's build a data center for our customers, and then the only fiber that runs into that particular data centers is that particular carrier's fiber, which isn't really attractive to set up internet exchange point into that particular data center. So I guess having a neutral operator for a carrier neutral operator for a data center, combined with a neutral and independent operator of an exchange point is a key factor. Those together combined is a key factor for a healthy peering and additional services ecosystem in a particular region, country, or even continent. Yeah.
Okay,
my 2 cents to your question.
Thank you so much, Carsten. Okay, guys, we have to move on. And what I'm interested in is because by the end of the day, we know that you know the business models keep changing and or being adjusted. So can you quickly, in a nutshell, share with us how, let's say, your your company experienced that and governance, if that played a role, and if so, what role? Noah, can I start with you? What's
Yeah.
your take on that?
My take on that is, oh, can you hear me? No. Cloud has become a dominant model for delivering IT services. So for the enterprises, nowadays they want to have access to the cloud. So AMSIX is at the moment in developing, since we are investing in diversification of our portfolio, we invest also in cloud access, for example, Google, Amazon, and Maps, for example. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's several areas where we're developing, obviously, our product portfolio, as all of our colleagues on the panel here have mentioned, right? The IXP landscape is changing. I liked what Martin said, it's morphing, which is very true. It's morphing into different areas. So for us, as an example, we're also offering multi-service ports, we're offering cloud connectivity. From that, users are able to set up their own closed user groups, right? So you could sell transit on there, you could sell DDoS, whatever service you wish to provide to your end customer is available. So the customers are valuing the one-stop shop approach of having a single supplier that they have to deal with, they're being invoiced from. That's something that we've seen. But in terms of new products, obviously everything that everyone has already mentioned, I think we're all kind of touching in the same areas here, but servicing different regions amongst the IXs. In terms of governance, we've had quite an interesting, we've had a few conversations with larger enterprises and healthcare providers and things of that nature that have been interested in the certain compliance areas of it. So ISO standard for finance in banking. So we're looking at investing time and money into that to obtain those standards at links, which also gives it allows the enterprise customers to feel comfortable that they're dealing with a network that isn't familiar to them on who they would deal with on an everyday basis, but it adds us to their circle of trusted suppliers, if you like. So the access to them becomes easier. That is what we're trying to obtain here. But also they don't fully understand that it doesn't really comply to us because we're merely operating the fabric, right? So we're not transporting our own data. It's data that's that of the member or customers. So we're not responsible for that. We just provide the straight layer 2 fabric. So there is some educating that has to be done there, and we talk through the potential customers that we work with on that. And it's just all about educating the end customer to help them understand the IX ecosystem, and for us to also understand their needs as well.
Sure, thank you. Cristiano?
Yeah, just to be connected to what Alil just said, I could share several figures, so the basically KPI of Mix in the last 2 years, all-time peak, number of new peers. But I think that the most important data, the most important figure is that in the last 2 years, there is an average of 40% of new autonomous system connected. This means that there is a market, there is an unknown market that we have to face. This means that we have to, I'm talking for Mix, of course. We are focused on onboarding new autonomous system. We are focused on education, on educate new companies that are entering in this market. This is very important because this is the large ecosystems that attract contents to an exchange.
Did we foresee this?
Yeah.
Did we foresee that there would be so much, let's say, new, let's say, AS?
Yes, sure. This is a trend that is growing since 5 to 7 years. There's an incredible growth of new autonomous system. Especially in Italy, we have a large number of small wireless providers connecting very small region because they are trusted. This is one of the most, I think, important word and value of the Internet Exchange. We are trusted partner of our peers. That's one of the most important things. About the governance, we believe that it is important to maintain and to confirm the governance that brought peers to choose our exchange, but at the same time, it is important to understand that the world changes. So maintaining the same approach for years is an incredible mistake.
Okay, thank you very much, Cristiano. Now, guys, again, we have a little bit to move on. Martin and Ivo and of course, Karsten, I would like to know from you guys, enterprise, the role of the IX for the enterprise, plus what role does peering play? And can you quickly go into this? Let me go to Martin first, please.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I think everything that's been mentioned previously, we can roll up in terms of the trend, the trend towards leveraging digital transformation for enterprise generally, and for governments, and for everyone. We're all on that same journey, and there are certain preconditions and environments that have to be in place to optimize and help people on that journey. IXs are in a unique position. The role of an independent IX is crucial. That is, it can't be tied to a carrier or or to a government. Obviously, regulation is necessary, but in terms of it being critical national infrastructure, I know some IXs don't particularly welcome being considered that way, but I think it's an enormous compliment that they are seen that way by many governments and want them to be regulated in the same way as telcos. That being that they are trusted advisors often to government about things as diverse as critical national infrastructure in the wider sense of utilities, government offices, the healthcare system, the education system, all running over IX or inside carrier-neutral data centers such as Equinix. And one of the things, kind of the elephant in the room, is that 90% of internet traffic by volume passes over physical cross-connects inside data centers, and only 10% travels on IX. But IX deals with thousands and millions of smaller data flows, not the biggest volumes, which is content and digital media. And when you look at these other use cases, the IX is, as we use the term, morphing into a multi-service platform that keeps stuff away from the internet and protects national infrastructure from what is substantial and increasing cyber threats generally. And I think we should never lose sight of that. Within Equinix, the whole question of governance, ITIL standards, ISO standards, and compliance is essential to our everyday operations for precisely that point, that it works and its best effort and just good enough is not good in the case of exceptional circumstances when something either national or international takes place that causes exceptional strain upon national infrastructure, communications and otherwise. So I think we all in this session have a critical part to play in that dialogue with government and enterprise.
Thank you, Martin. Ivo?
Absolutely, carrier and data center neutral internet exchanges, especially the distributed ones, are key element to make sure what have been explained. And what is this? We see, as I already mentioned, that interconnection, which is done over the fabrics, which are partially represented on this panel, becomes extremely attractive to new target groups, new organizations, new entities. We call them enterprises, but it's just also beyond this. I'm saying beyond the borders of the wholesale business. Why? Because this type of connectivity services delivers more flexibility, more efficiency, more security, and more performance. Carsten talked about latency, and I will say yes, latency is the new currency. Every single millisecond counts because it's about performance. It's about performance in real life and real time sports broadcasting. It's performance on the gaming sector. It's performance in the cloud sector. It's performance on every single state-of-art application. They're so latency sensitive. If it comes to security, the most secure path is the direct one, without a lot of loops, is the local one. And therefore, I believe the infrastructure we do represent today it has a great foundation to serve the needs of digital transformation everywhere for this type of extremely flexible and secure connectivity, which is not related to MPLS circuits where an organization needs to wait 3 to even 6 months to get provisioned, where the routing is not done properly, ending up with 100+ milliseconds, and I don't want to repeat what the colleagues have mentioned, but one more thing is important. It's about governance, and governance is not important for the IXS as well, being carrier data center nature, but governance is extremely important also for the needs of the market. And DICIX has created the model of as a concept of a closed user group for different industry segments, specifically starting with automotive, healthcare, and finance, where the owner of the closed user group can create a virtual private internet, an own internet interconnection ecosystem, where this control on the data journey can be provided and can be monitored much better, and can meet the requirements for data privacy, security, and compliance much better than this has been done in the past. And I think this is what every single organization dealing with digital services today looks for, to control the data journey and to be able to provide the best performance and security of the data of its staff members, but also of its customers and users.
Thank you, Ivo. Noah?
Yes, about the enterprise, because the enterprise is very new to the peering market. They have a totally different language than the language that the peering market is already used to. So first of all, talking about the enterprises, you're talking about the ones, because Facebook is an enterprise. So we are talking about the ones who does not have an AS number, right? So they need to have a package created for them, or some certain industry-specific solution that is made for a certain group of enterprises that can just go in and just connect without any hassle or difficulties. And we are working on some nice solution for that. We have the anti-DDoS for security, we have cloud access, but also we are investing in our new customer portal, which will make for them easy to just click and pay.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Noah, for sharing that with us. Coming to the end of the session, and maybe Carsten, I can start with you. I mean, we heard a couple of things here, and we tipped on, let's say, a couple of very important topics, and we could talk for another two hours, but unfortunately we can't. So, Carsten, just quickly scoping the future. What do you foresee?
Predictions are always difficult, in particular if they concern the future. So yeah, hard to say, I guess. From a bit hard to say. From my point of view, I guess we will continue to see possibly, likely even increasing relevance of internet exchange points, because they do serve a need, and they will continue to serve an ever increasing need, from my point of view at least. And so that was what comes now is a bit to what's being discussed earlier in terms of governance and regulation. And I guess all these regions, countries that would not have yet a fully fledged internet exchange point ecosystem are well advised to think about, say, a regulation. And then in this regard, I can say that the regulation we've had here, we're still having in Germany, is a healthy one that would, say, tip on the shoulder of legacy operators enjoying a monopoly or like an oligopoly. But only so long and so far as we would have a fully fledged market situation, a level playing field for a multitude of operators, really. And that is an advice or an idea, as I said, as I've seen in the chat, a brief message from Shafu Amal from Bangladesh, saying like any plans to set up an exchange point here in Bangladesh as well. I guess having a government with a regulation authority that carefully would craft its regulation system to do as much as possible to enable a full market, and then would like nicely retreat itself from its own business, to say, is possibly another factor in developing a healthy ecosystem in terms of the internet. And so, having said this, I would assume that if that's the case in other areas and regions and countries of this planet, we're going to see the ecosystem being built out, the ecosystem of internet exchange points being built out and being simply growing. And I guess that's a good thing as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cristiano?
Well, I would divide into three different term period. In the short term, we should need to improve and help our peers to face the disruptive events that are going and we are living on. So by over provisioning, this is the only way. On the average term, I think that we as an internet exchange need to improve our role into the into other different table like government and we need to be part of the global discussion. On the long-term period, we as an internet exchange need to understand where a local internet exchange could help adding performance and low latency connectivity into a spread region outside the major cities.
Okay, thank you. Martin, quick one.
Hello, sorry, were you going to ask me a question then, or can you repeat the question?
Yeah, just Martin, just a quick couple of seconds. How do you see the future? Scoping it, please.
Just the curious thing about Equinix, of course, is that we are a global data center operator, but also operate Equinix IXs. I think this is a very complex subject. There is regulation hampering growth of digital technologies in some parts of the world. We can hold our breath and hope that that changes, but I think we all in this particular session have a role in educating and enabling IXPs to go on the journey, and particularly the role of edge and IXs have been enablers of improvement in network latency and reduction in cost, squeezing it out of the ecosystem for some time. And that's a great thing. In parts of the world where there's still excessive costs within the system, it hampers people's ability to consume internet services. It makes bandwidth too expensive for the consumers. And as a result, it hampers GDP and general well-being of the world's population. So I think we have a responsibility within this, both us as the landlords or the hosts of these IXPs and an IXP operator in our own right, to help others on the digital journey. More of the future is more of the same in more locations, in my view. We're clearly only at the start.
Okay, thank you so much, Martin. Ivo, quick word on the future.
Internet exchanges everywhere for everybody, from the big hub down to the highway crossroad. I sent Shuffle already a kind invitation to start a chat with me. TechX has a global internet exchange as a service program, and we take it very serious. These are the 20 seconds.
Thank you so much. Halil.
Yeah, from my side of the quick wrap up, APIs and seamless connectivity, and obviously increased data with disaggregated networks being looked into more and more.
Okay, thank you so much. And last but not least, please, the most famous words from Noah, from the AMSIX.
I see a lot of, it's the responsibility of the big internet exchanges to bring traffic local. So to the countries that are not developed yet, as far as Europe is, to bring exchanges there local. So I see a big role for AMSIX in more other countries.
Okay, and connect the unconnected.
Exactly.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, and from the audience, do you have a question? It was clear again, right? So thank you so much. And for the people out there, we would really like to thank you, and from Halil and from Noah and from Cristiano and myself. A big thanks to Ivo, to Martin, and of course to Karsten, and lots of hugs from and warm hugs actually from Rome to all of you out there. So with this, we want to wrap it up, and thank you so much. And again, I would like to thank and actually with special thanks to Noah and the AMSIX for hosting this webinar. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Stay safe and stay tuned, because within the hour we're going to talk about data centers. So stay with us, and all the way good. Bye bye. Ciao ciao.